Welcome, hello, and good day. This is the Homegrown Podcast, and we have two very special guests, and also, I guess, a third, because Rob just kind of just showed up and was hanging out, so.
I invited myself.
He really did. To the left of me, we also got Bobby hanging out.
Hello.
And to the left of Bobby, actually, two awesome people. They are from Wastoids. Please welcome the creators of Wastoids, Jason Woodbury and Sam Means. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks so much for having us.
Absolutely. So first of all, I want to talk everything Wastoids because it is fascinating. Diving into the website. Well, first off, let's just talk about this. Wastoids is like this multifaceted, like psychedelic art, weird culture, from like music to podcast to people like calling in with their weirdness that they've witnessed. Like, how did you guys come up with this?
How did you come up with Wastoids, Sam?
I think I started trying to do it in like 2017, and it was just going to be like a blog, which was sort of boring, but I just thought it would be like a pop culture blog that I would sneakily insert Hello Merch related things into it, and that was just really boring. So I kind of gave up on it, and then bumped into this dude one day over an email.
Yeah.
He emailed me and it bumped into me, and I was like, oh, hey.
We bumped into each other solely,
Digitally. I like
Yeah,
that.
but I guess at that time I was like going to maybe be doing the record pressing stuff or a record label. I always have like 50 things going on.
You really do. That's why I was like, how do you have time for all of this? But
I know. And but then those things weren't really working out, but I was like, but I have this crazy idea.
Yeah.
You were like, yeah, that is a crazy idea. Let's do it. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
So that's how it started.
it's rad because it reminds me of like a digital version of like skate magazines of some sort, or like
like visually heavily inspired by that. In fact, I think we went and looked through every episode every
issue.
Thank you. Every issue of Thrasher magazine from like 1982 to 1984 or something to get a lot of the visual stuff. That's to me like the peak of graphic design, is that era. So yeah,
that's really rad. That makes sense.
Pull a lot from that.
Wow. Yeah, I listened to your guys' episode about the Wallace and Ladmo bags.
Yeah,
I just loved the throwback to Wallace and Ladmo, because it's like such a big part of Arizona culture, and like not many people know what it means to like get a Wallace and Ladmo or get a Ladmo bag.
Yeah, it just was such a coveted thing, but it's so funny now, like looking back and knowing that they weren't even that cool.
Yeah, yeah, right.
You just wanted one, but it was cool, but it was basically just like chips and Tootsie Rolls
and Twinkies. Yeah, my mom got one, and she'd always talk about it. I'm like, what? You just got a bag of Twinkies? Like what?
Yeah, you don't understand.
Yeah. So you guys didn't know each other before creating this? You said you bumped into each other in email.
No, we did from Zia and New Times and stuff. I was in a band for years, so there was some crossover with that type of.
I interviewed Sam.
Forever.
I interviewed Sam. I don't even remember. It must have been, I guess I want to say 2015 or something, for the Willamette Week, a paper.
I think it was even before that.
Was it?
I think it was like 2012, because it was for that EP. I think I did.
Shit. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
But I had interviewed Sam about that, and for a paper in Portland, actually. And I don't know.
Were you living in Portland?
No.
Oh, okay.
They just asked me to do it.
Were you living here?
I was living here,
Oh, okay.
yeah. But they were like, hey, you live in Phoenix. We want to do the story on Sam Means. Do you think you can get in touch with them? So I emailed them, and then we digitally bumped into each other back then. We knew.
We still do that just for old time's sake.
That's true, yeah. So we knew each other, but not super well. I've been a fan of Hello Merch for a long time, and a big fan of Sam's music and just the whole general vibe. And so, yeah, I was just kind of looking to make a change and try some different creative projects, and just kind of had like a lightning bolt moment one day, and I was like, I'm going to email Sam and see if he has any weird ideas that I could help with. And so we started talking, and Sam was like, I don't have any weird ideas. No, I'm just kidding. He told me about like 15 different ideas he had, and one of them was Wastoids. And so I came over and started working on the project, and the hotline was like one of the first things that we kind of came up with.
We both really like like the old school Art Bell Coast to Coast radio. That was like one of the
It's like a huge reference point for the both of us, and I think that was our
the like late night, truckers calling in talking about aliens and things they saw in the sky as they were tripping on like trucker speed or whatever.
Yeah, it's almost like a lost art,
It's called meth.
Yeah, that's right.
yeah. But yeah, so then we started doing the hotline and started in on podcasts and video projects, and it's just been a ton of fun over the last it's like a year and a half,
Yeah, you guys been doing it for a while.
2 years. Yeah. But well, it'll be 2 years in May or July.
Yeah.
Anyway, nobody people are like, "No, you're wrong. It didn't start
We're
then."
gonna
We have-
have
we
a
have fact
lot of
checkers.
people answering.
Yeah, a lot of fact
We do a
checkers.
podcast together, and yeah, we have misinformation on there constantly.
Unfortunately,
Most of it comes from me because I just don't know. I don't remember anything.
yeah.
So wait, I'm curious. What were some of the other ideas that you had pitched?
Oh, well,
Maybe
I mean,
something
at
off
the
the
time,
wall.
yeah, I was, well, the other ones were actually pretty normal, I guess. They weren't super crazy, but I wanted to do like a 7-inch of the month club. I was the time that we were going to
Oh.
maybe start doing record pressing across the street. I was going to open up a record pressing plant,
Yeah.
but it ended up, the building didn't close and the whole thing fell apart. But in doing that, I was like, yeah, we'll have this like 7-inch of the month club, and we'll just, the weird idea was, I wanted to create fake singles out of like old songs. So like
Yeah.
you would create a single for, I don't know, some Weezer song that like wasn't a single, but you'd have new art. It's a terrible
Ooh.
idea. I don't think
Like
anybody.
a demo, like doing
No, like a deep cut, like
Yeah, like
presented
a deep
deep
cut
cut,
as a
like it
new
was
single.
a 7-inch, right?
7-inch single.
I actually love that idea. I mean, I collect vinyl, so like I think that'd be like
I
so
thought it'd be
awesome.
That'd be pretty
fun because it'd be
fascinating,
like
yeah.
sort of like a reissue, but with all new art. So it's
Yeah.
something like alternate universe single from an album that just
Yeah.
didn't exist.
That's amazing.
Maybe eventually we'll do the alternate universe.
Somebody
thing.
steal
it's a pretty
that.
good idea.
Somebody take the
Somebody
idea.
steal
Oh, I'm going to.
We're
If you're
trademarking
listening,
it.
just do it. I mean, I have plenty of other ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, imagine if you would actually open up that record pressing plant though right now with just how everything is with like delays. Probably just raking it in.
Well, the whole time too, I always thought for some reason that Hello Merch also pressed records, because I do see on the website that there are records being sold.
Sell a lot of records.
Yeah,
we
so
we
I don't know
warehouse a
why
lot of
I-
records, but yeah, no, most of those are done elsewhere.
Yeah.
In fact, all of them are done elsewhere.
Yeah. No record pressing.
Not just
yet.
most of them.
Have you
Yeah.
not been in the warehouse?
I've never been to the warehouse. My friend
Hey, come down. Come on
Dylan
down.
worked there. Or
Yes.
is she still working?
Dylan now works for another thing we're doing called Merch Friends, and she moved to Nashville, and
Yeah.
it's a nonprofit for merchandise companies, and she is running that
We got to hang out with Dylan
in New York. Yeah.
New York.
Yeah, you guys
for-
did band
yeah.
T-shirt.
Band
Was
shirt
it a
thing.
day?
Band shirt
That was,
day.
Band shirt
yeah,
day,
that was
yeah.
another thing we did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Started
which-
a holiday.
We started a holiday, started a merch friends coalition, and yeah, no, it was awesome hanging out with Dylan. Dylan's the best.
It's kind of amazing how you put an idea out there and you can actually like execute it. I'm just always fascinated by that, because I have so many ideas and I feel like I just can't even move past that first step. Like, what would be your, I guess, advice for someone like myself that can't do that?
Just stick with it. stick with keep rolling with that, because it's not easy.
No, I would imagine
It's tough.
not. It
Thanks,
is-
Dad.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
difficult.
No, I mean, I don't know. I encourage people to take crazy ideas and risks if they can. I mean, it's fun. You just have to be totally prepared to like completely fail.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
as long as you're
That's
cool
a
with
hard
that,
thing.
then it's fun.
Yeah. I just recently, oddly enough, I found out about Wastoids maybe a few months ago. And I thought it was like totally brand new for some reason. And then a few months later, you hit me up
Mm-hmm.
and you were telling me like, hey, we want to do something with you. And I was like, what's happening right now? Is there some weird Inception thing going on? So it was really cool, just diving more into it and checking out the website. But then something really got me intrigued is you guys also have like this TV show
Yeah.
kind of thing with it. And I can't freaking find it. Like, where can I get it? Because I see these little teaser clips and I want more.
There's a thing called Night Flight. And,
Okay.
yeah, in the 80s, in the early 80s, it was right before MTV came out. Actually, This was like a late night thing on what was on the USA Network.
It was on USA Network, yeah. Right after they had been Manhattan Public Access, and they transitioned into a national
And it was
label. Or
they called it a video magazine, and it was like one of the early. It was like a very cool, like put together thing. They did a lot of interviews. So they did a bunch of stuff. They did interviews. They played videos. Were they playing movies and stuff at that point?
Yeah, they would
like
show. It would be like 4 hours every Saturday night.
Yeah.
And they would show like, you know, a 90-minute version of Eraserhead or Rocky Horror.
Wow, yeah.
And then they would also have, different, I think it was, is it Metal Hammer?
Yeah, Metal Hammer.
Metal Hammer would do like a metal feature, and they'd have interviews, artist interviews. Yeah, just a bunch of stuff. And I guess maybe midway through the 2010s, they relaunched as a streaming service.
Yeah.
Interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah,
And
so it's really cool, actually. I mean, there's a ton of amazing music documentaries and weird cult horror stuff, and like.
So did they ask you to be a part of their whole thing, or did you guys approach them?
We had this idea. We have a developing idea to continue making TV shows. Like, actually, we want to bring back the variety show.
Yes.
But don't steal that idea.
Well, it's
Actually,
too late. I've already got it. I've already got it.
So this was like, we had this idea to just sort of assemble some of the things we had already been working on, and then add some like scripted elements, which Jason wrote, which are really cool and really funny. And so we just presented it to them because I think it was through like someone, Nick, who was in a band called Knights of the Abyss, and then he was in a band called Weird Radicals, which turned into Astrologer.
Right.
And Astrologer is on Lollipop Records, and there was some weird connection there to Night Flight, and we ended up they were interested in working with Hello Merch. So through this whole convoluted thing, we just ended up getting in touch with them, and we were like, "Hey, we have this idea," and they're like, "Cool. We don't have any money for you or anything, but like, go ahead and make it, and we'll put it on the channel."
Yeah, they asked us to put together something like a pilot to check out,
Yeah.
and then we did that, and it was really fun, and it was so that's where you can find the anthology series is on Night Flight Plus. Eventually, it will also live on Wastoids.com as well, but
check out Night Flight Plus. It's cool.
It's like, everybody, like, there's so many different streaming services, and I empathize with anybody who's like, wait, I have to sign up for another one. But if you're at all into weirdo, we can swear and stuff on this.
Oh,
right?
absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
If you're at all into weirdo shit, like, Night Flight is absolutely the right spot. Like, there's so many cool things on it, so many cool documentaries, old TV shows, they've got the RoboCop series. So Wastoids is right next to RoboCop, which I always think is like I think it's like a professional highlight of my life.
You made it.
We made it. Yeah.
So who handles most of the art direction and like creating all of the visuals? Because it's just I just get so amazed by it, and everything I look at is just so cool. It's like so psychedelic. Like I liked the in the description of your guys' podcast called like micro dosing. And I was like, that's like genius.
Yeah, it really
yeah,
is.
because it obviously just all fits the brand and everything. So who kind of like handles that part of it?
This guy George did a lot of it in the early days. I am doing most of it now. Jason comes up with all the cool little catchphrases, and everything that has to do with that is definitely all you.
But Sam had the look of it, like
Yeah,
that's been
we
locked
spent months
in.
like really figuring out like this is what it's gonna look like, and sticking to that completely. So
It's like probably the
anybody
most,
could really jump in, because it's just like you can, sure, anybody could do it, but
yeah,
it
we
just has to look like this.
put a cool style guide together, and that was really probably some of the most fun I've ever had on a project. Was when we were just
Just going through
brainstorming and
like
going
old
through
thrashers
zines, and yeah, we have like a pretty extensive library of old weird stuff that we've consulted and stuff. So yeah,
that was definitely the most fun part. It was like from May until June, like just straight up talking. And
yeah,
That's amazing. So it's like you guys are both collaborating at all times.
oh yeah, I mean at this point it's entirely just the two of us.
That's
but
true.
Still
yeah.
still mostly you, but yeah, we're down to it's just the two of us, and we've decided to kind of keep it a tight 2.
You know, one of my favorite things about listening to Wastoids is I feel humbled every single time I hear an episode because you guys get deep into music that I don't know too much about. I mean, in this last episode, you guys that I just recently listened to was with Kimber and getting into like shoegaze and everything. Like I've heard the genre before, but I've never like really dove into, I guess, that genre in particular. I don't really know what my question is about that. I guess it's just more of a statement, but it's just really cool to hear your guys' deep knowledge because I feel like I know nothing compared to you guys. But you've also both been in music for a really long time.
Yeah, we're nerds, but I learn a ton on that. Yeah, so we do a few different podcasts, and one of them, the one you're referring
That's
to,
right.
is
Yeah,
Click
yeah,
Vortex. Click Vortex. And yeah, I learned a bunch of stuff. I discovered a couple new artists on this last one we just did that's coming out next week.
Yeah.
But it's fun. Yeah, it's fun to try to like stump Jason with things, but it never works because he knows everything pretty much for the most part. But he stumps me all the time.
Sam stumps me sometimes. I don't know. I don't always know stuff, but I definitely think that like sharing music recommendations and stuff that I really like. That's all I ever want to do. It's I think it's maybe the only thing I'm good at in some ways, like is being able to just like, hey, this is cool and here's why it's cool, or here's why I think it's cool at the very least.
But sometimes, yeah, even in our own things, because the point of that is like we start somewhere and then we end up somewhere through like Wikipedia or whatever. Like you just go down this rabbit hole. So I think sometimes, I mean, for me at least, I even just discovered things on my own. Like, wow, I never knew that about, Britney Spears or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And like some
crazy thing.
And sometimes I'll discover something like earlier that week and then want to talk about it on the podcast. So it's not always long held knowledge. Sometimes it's just, I just discovered this and now I want to talk about it. But like talking with somebody like Kimber is like a perfect example of like sort of the record store mindset, sort of this like knowing where everything goes, where everything's filed, what everything is like. So she's like, that was such a fun opportunity to get a chance to talk with her, because in all the times that I have talked with Kimber, it's like we rarely get the chance to just talk about music. It's mostly about, what's happening, what events she's got going on, what Local First is doing. So for that was such a fun episode to just sit there and rap with her about, opening for Oasis, which everybody should hear her story about opening for Oasis. It was
a good story.
Yeah, at the Nile Theater, which
And
we saw earlier today. So.
It's a very Oasis story too.
Yeah, it's a good. They didn't let down. They didn't let us down. That was their first appearance on the pod.
Oh.
First of many, I hope. I'm sure the Gallagher brothers will come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of you involved in music, obviously, with the format, and then are you still doing solo stuff, Sam?
Yeah, I did. I put an EP out a couple years ago now.
Yeah, I remember. It was good. It was really good.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it weird hearing when people tell you that it's good?
I didn't know if anybody even knew it came out. So you heard it here first, folks. I put out an EP 2 years ago.
What was your favorite song, Mo? Name 3
Dang it.
songs.
Yeah, name 3 songs. There's only 5 of them.
There were 2 songs that I played off of it, and I am so
No,
bad.
I actually remember that. Yeah, you definitely did. Because I think I did a call-in interview when that came out.
Close. Maybe you did do a call-in interview, but you came in studio.
I did that. That was that was after. That was before.
Yeah, that was because we were talking about
That's for format stuff. Yeah.
Which
by the way, where is that studio? I was trying to remember. Speaking of not remembering anything, he was like, "Where's the rate?" I'm like, "I don't know. I feel like it's by the airport."
so kind of.
That was as close as I could get in my brain. I was like, "Airplanes."
Like, you know where Papago Mountain is? It's across the street, just west of it,
It's 52nd Street.
and just south of McDowell,
yeah.
like in between the freeway.
So
and
that was pretty
McDowell.
close, I guess.
Yeah, like
It's not too bad.
right after the airport. It's like Airport 143, 52nd Van
Oh,
Buren.
yeah.
Got it.
Gotcha.
Do you remember that day that I did not turn your microphone on and we recorded twice?
Oh, I didn't actually. Thanks for reminding me. That was traumatizing. Just kidding.
I had thought about it. It just
Yeah,
kept
I actually
haunting
totally
me.
forgot about that.
Yeah, it kept haunting me. So I was like, I asked my partner. I was like,
Yeah, quick spot check on this
yeah,
one.
do a spot check real quick. Make sure we're going. If not, we lost some quality stuff.
That's right. Yeah, we did it twice, right? That's
Yeah, we did. You
For
faked
show-
it. You were the
We
best
did it twice
actor.
for shows that never happened.
Oh, I know, man.
Yeah, don't
yeah,
remind
because
me.
that was right at the pandemic. Like just what, a month later.
Yeah, it was like the day
Everything
after we
closed
did
down.
that acoustic show, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then so everything kept getting pushed back. At what point where you're like, we can't push this back anymore. We're just killing this.
I think just the spring. I think the final pushback was like July of this year it was supposed to be. So I think maybe, I don't know, April or May, we're like, it's still weird.
Is this something that you want to
Just stop.
put on the back burner until like another anniversary or?
No, I mean, we do have another anniversary next year. Is
Yeah.
the 20th of our first album, which is not cool.
Yeah. How's that make you feel?
Very old.
Kind of
Very,
feels
very
like
old.
it was just a few days or like a few years ago.
I mean, I
not
remember
20.
feeling old when like the Weezer album was 20 years old.
You want to feel real old,
the Blue
Sam?
album. Yeah. No, not really. No, actually.
That record was the first record I bought in the 4th grade.
Whoa. I thought I got him.
Speaking of Dylan, for Band Shirt Day, Alex, her
Yeah.
partner Alex, sent in some pictures from Band Shirt Day. And he was wearing a format shirt, and he was like 10 or something.
Oh
Well, you know what's
my
funny?
gosh.
We went to elementary, middle, and high school. He used to make fun of me for listening to the format in
Alex?
the 6th grade. Alex did.
No way.
He
Well,
used to
because
make fun of me a
he
lot.
was like a punk rock kid too. I discovered because he also sent in some other where he had like I think he had like Liberty Spikes and a Dead
Yeah.
Kennedy shirt on.
Yeah,
or
he
something.
used to always like, we were like friends, but he would always be like, "Oh, you're listening to that band?" Like,
format sucks, but then he
Ugh.
really liked.
and I was just like, "Dude, what do you mean?" And like, he just make fun, like, fine, whatever. Like, he was like, Warped Tour's lame now," and I'm like, "Whatever, dude." Like, but we talked about like a year and a half, 2 years ago or something like that, and I was like, "Remember, like, you like kind of giving me shit for all this stuff?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, man." He's like, "I didn't realize how much of a dick I was until I started talking to people." He was like, "I would see someone from school, and they'd be like, 'Yeah, dude, you were a dick to me,' and he was like, 'Wait, what?" And he was like, "Oh, he's like, dude, I felt bad," and we like talked for like, I don't know, like an hour about all this stuff. And he was like, "Yeah, he's like, I really feel bad because I didn't want to be that way, but I think I was just being a punk kid."
Did he steal? I wonder if he stole that format shirt from you. He's like, "They suck. Give me that shirt.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna wear that on vacation where no one can see me."
Probably not. He doesn't have broad shoulders.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He helped us in New York too. He was looking pretty ripped.
No, he's pretty fit. He's
Yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna say, and nice.
And
So this
very,
is a
very
different
so
side.
nice.
See, the
he definitely learned.
Fit and nice.
When I saw
He's
him,
always
like,
been nice to me. So I
he's,
can't
he's
say anything.
I love Alex. He's a good dude, and like when we caught him, it was just funny. He was just being a punk kid.
You
know?
gotta
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, you
That's
gotta.
yeah, that's
Especially when like you're in the 4th to 6th grade, people are like, "What are you listening to? What is this?" It's like,
That's when I started being a snob about music. Was 4th
Yeah.
grade.
well, you're
Tell
like,
other kids.
well,
Yeah.
the best part is like listening to that record and be like, why did my parents like? Why are they okay with me listening to that? Like a lot of this, like I should not like shouldn't be like, yeah, mom, this record really resonates with me.
See, at that time, I was listening to like Bone Thugs and Harmony. Like that was like one of my first concerts. So
We get it. You lived in Gilbert.
I no, I lived in Mesa, like on Dobson and Southern.
Same thing.
Yeah, I guess you're right, huh?
Bone Thugs are great.
What?
Bone Thugs are great.
They're fantastic. I love them. I don't know why I felt like I needed to, like, I felt a part of them, but I was really heavily into
Thuggish,
rap and
Ruggish
hip hop.
Bone.
Yeah, Thuggish, you know. Oh my
Well,
God.
you just
what
made me think of a
album.
good question because
What?
are you from Arizona too?
Yeah.
So like, what's a local band from back in the day that you guys both like kind of miss? You know,
Like collectively or
just
separately?
individually, like a local band that you wish would have like continued, kept going.
Gosh, that's a tough question
I mean,
because there's so many.
Because I book shows also, and like it's always such a bummer when, in 15 years, like there's always just a band. I'm like, this band's so great, and they just don't really like hit or take off, and it's just such a bummer. It's like as much as I try to book a show or try to get people to listen to them or do whatever, and I still look back on some bands from when I was in high school and being like, I wish that band just kept going.
Who's one for you?
I always loved the Cover Up. They're a bit of a
See,
heavy
I've
band.
Never heard of the cover.
Well, now
Up.
now the
Oh,
Joe.
I remember the cover up.
Yeah, and they went to do the Man Made Machine.
Mhm.
They got signed. It did not work out after a while. Then they became dead, and now they're dead.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they're the band Dead?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. I was going to say, because I think I did merch for the cover up in the very, very first year the Hello merch was around, and now we do merch for Dead.
Yeah,
That's probably
Full
why.
circle.
that makes sense. Yeah,
When I was a teenager, my favorite punk band in Arizona was Jedi 5.
Jedi
You
5.
remember them at all? But probably not,
No.
because you were in 4th grade. But they were great.
Yeah, I'm 31 currently, so
I got at
What
least
kind
a
of
decade on
music?
you. It was just like bad punk rock. you know.
Bad punk rock.
But like had
Gotta
like
love
some
it.
really good melodies though. Like Blink-182 with Edge.
Nice.
What do you mean? Blink-182 is not edgy?
Well, they have that song called Edging.
Yeah, that is true.
That just came out, right? So something, but I
Cut-
think that means
cut the
something
rope.
else.
Yeah.
What about you, Jason?
Jeez, I don't know. So I grew up like mostly 45 minutes south of the valley in a town called Coolidge.
Oh, good old
Whoa.
Coolidge.
Yeah.
I almost moved to Coolidge in high school, and I like begged my mom, please don't let me move to Coolidge.
Yeah, good begging.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right move. No, it's fine.
He was a juggalo for a while, but it's not a big deal.
I want to see that
That's
episode.
how I got- That's how I learned so much about music was in the Juggalo crew.
ICP.
Drinking your Faygo, huh?
But there weren't a lot of bands in Coolidge per se.
I mean, there wasn't a lot of people in Coolidge.
There were I started bands in Coolidge. We would play at there was a bar and grill that they must have somehow been able to allow underage people into it because we were in there. But like we'd kind of do stuff. There were a couple older punk kids. There's a band called Gary's Agenda, which I was a big fan of, and Parkway Wretch.
Yeah,
And
I remember
then
them. They were
some
good.
of that, they all eventually moved to the valley, which we followed. But I remember like one of my first shows, was like a generator show in the desert. Because I mean, there weren't
Wow.
venues per se. So if kids wanted to play, you'd have to figure out something to do. So I knew this one kid, and he lived out on a farm, and he was like, we could get a generator and we could do a show out here. So we did that show, and we covered a Descendants song at that show. And the older kids from Parkway and Gary's, they like stormed onto the stage and they poured beers all over us while we were playing it. And I was like, I think this means they like us.
Yeah, I think this is a good thing.
I was like, I'm pretty
Or
sure
at
this is
least
good. Or
Descendants.
it's bad. Yeah. And then afterwards they were like, yeah, the Descendants rule. And I was like,
I just
cool.
wonder how they all
What song was
collectively
it?
were like, let's go pour beer on them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's go
probably.
right now.
They did it, and I remember being like, okay, this is kind of cool, maybe.
Do you remember what song it was?
Hope. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, not a
Deep cut.
deep cut. Not a deep cut. Pretty
You just
pretty-
lost all punk rock
It was,
credibility.
standard.
it was the Sublime version, is the part you left.
Yeah,
out.
exactly. Yeah, and we thought it was a Bradley Nowell original. No, it's so funny though because I was playing my dad's bass, and one of the kids. I mean, I'm telling you, it was a very small town, so one of the punk kids had been conscripted to drum for this cover band in town that the guy who owned the bar and grill was in, called the Moonshooters.
Okay.
And
It's my
so-
favorite band.
So my dad one year they got hired to play the Safeway Christmas party.
Oh.
So
made it.
the bass player couldn't make it, so the main guy in the band, Pat, asked my dad to do it,
Uh-huh.
and the kid on the drums was like, I've seen that bass before, because my dad had a really cool Music Man that I was
Oh.
playing, and I was like, yeah, it's my dad's, blah blah blah, and he was like, oh, is your dad Nolan? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, he really likes the bass line from My Sharona.
Oh no.
And I was like, yeah, totally. And he's like, no, I mean like he like really likes it. He played it a lot. And I was just like, oh, okay.
That's kind of
Like
embarrassing.
for every song, just that bass line.
I guess that was his every song. Do 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 do. But I was like, all right, cool. So my dad's got more cred in this circle than I do. But it was, yeah. So I guess I'll throw those out. But I mean, we would come up to the valley, go to the Nile and stuff to see shows. And so then when I moved up to the valley, there were so many cool bands that I miss from the Trunk Space era and like a lot of all ages stuff.
Ruben's Accomplice are probably my favorite local band. But
Reuben's Accomplice
still around.
they're one of the greats. So because they're still around, they don't count as a former band, but they're definitely one of my favorites.
I'll still count them. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been at least 10 years since they put anything out.
Yeah, that's actually that makes me feel old.
yeah. I mean,
You're
when
right. It's like
they did that
2000
Limbeck show, I was like, oh, they're still around. I was like, that's cool.
They're
Like,
still around, yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Is there a venue that you miss playing at or miss attending shows to?
We were just talking about
Yeah,
Modified.
we-
Modified's definitely the
Yeah,
name.
Modified's top of the brain.
Yeah.
Dude.
Someone else said, who was I talking
The
to? I
one
think I was
place.
the one
It
place.
was the Maine.
Yeah, it was the Maine we were talking about it with, and I had never been there, but now it's what, a Matt's Big Breakfast, or
It is. That's where I did my like very first show. Was at the one place.
right.
I was like
Yeah.
16 at that point. I did house shows when I was 15 and 16. I was like on MySpace, like, hey, I'm clearly not a kid. Let me do a show. And then eventually modified Clubhouse and all that. But yeah, I miss Modified so much. Like, I saw a band there in high school called I Don't Give a Fuck, and they played like the bands are on the stage. They decided we're not playing on the stage. They put all the gear on the floor in the crowd, and they were just so heavy. They played with ski masks. No one knew who they were, and they chased literally 2 girls out of the venue. The girls like trying to run, like, oh no, it's too heavy, and the screamer runs out. Microphone cable rips out of the PA, goes out the door, and he's just screaming on the street. And we're inside looking out the window, and he's just like screaming, and everyone's like, what the hell? And he takes the cymbal off and then chucks it like a frisbee.
oh my god, definitely like that movie Whiplash. Did you ever see that?
I have not.
Oh man, so good and very terrifying.
What about was there a place called the Brick House? Was that a venue?
Yeah.
I'm not imagining that, right?
It was at what is the Brick House now, but it was at the time called Jackson Hole.
Okay, yeah, because I remember going to shows.
It's on Jackson, right behind the stadium or the arena.
Is that where it was at? Yeah, because
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of like where that was. That was like this. That was like.
It's still there.
Is it?
It's like borderline condemned. At this
Yeah.
point.
It was a
it's
cool-
about to fall over. If you drive
I saw
front
some
of it
great
is-
shows there
Dude,
for
I saw
sure.
the Blood Brothers there when I was like 17,
That
and
was
it
a
was
cool place.
probably one of the best shows I've ever.
Yeah, I played a show there with I was 16, I think, and it was the RX Bandits,
Yes.
Link 80, the Hippos,
The
And-
Hippos. Oh my god.
one other band like that. I
Was it a
forget who
drive-through tour?
Pretty much, yeah. Basically.
Yeah, they had really good shows there. I mean, obviously the Modified too. Just talking about like local bands too in the Modified. I remember going to see Deer in the Headlights a bunch at the Modified. They used to play really fun shows there. But yeah, the Modified was kind of the best. And shout out the Brick
It really
House.
was.
It sucks. I mean, because I live right not too far from there, and driving by, and I'm like, that's right there. It could still be a venue. Still could be doing
I know,
shows.
Yeah, we were just she mentioned the Kimber episode. We were kind of reminiscing on it, but I don't know if it would be the same. You know,
No, I mean, honestly, like,
because that was just such a
Everything's
different.
now. Yeah.
It's just so different downtown too. That was just such a crazy place.
well, it was like dangerous. It was like, what are we doing
Now,
down here? We
yeah,
shouldn't
now
be here.
I'll never forget. I
Now there's
telling
an Arby's across the street.
I remember telling my mom, like, yeah, I'm going to a show, and she's like, well, where's the venue? And I was like, oh, it's on Roosevelt. Like, I didn't know where I was going, you know. She's like, Roosevelt, and she, like looking at a map or something, and she was just like, oh no, you shouldn't go there. That's dangerous.
I saw a guy get murdered across the street
Are you
Oh,
at a
serious?
stereo show. Yeah, a lot of people did actually. We were all standing outside smoking, and these two guys were like bothering people, just being nuts. And then they went across the street, and then this guy like picked up a giant boulder
Whoa.
and smashed this guy's head.
And that's why you don't smoke. If you didn't smoke, you wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah, we would have heard it.
Sweet.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It was terrifying.
So I actually have a crazy mom story where that one place, that show I booked, I was, young, so my mom dropped me off. And I'm like, all right, Mom, like, cool, later. I told her to drop me off like 30 minutes before load-in so like no one would see me get dropped off by my mom. And she was like, no, I don't feel safe leaving you here. And I was like, no, Mom, just go. Like, I'll be fine. I'll wait right by the door. Like, come on. And she waited until Josh Niles, I think the guy who ran the one place, showed up. She's like, hi, excuse me. My son's like, he like did the show or something. And is he going to be safe with you? And I was like, Mom, like, no. And he's like, yeah, he can come in with me right now. And I was like, Mom, go. And like, she was like, it's a dangerous place downtown. I'm like, go back to PV, please.
Josh is here to protect me. By the way, I love Josh Nile.
I haven't seen him since.
I haven't
this
either,
place.
but good dude.
He was such a great drummer. Though I saw him drum once because I heard he was a great drummer, and I was like he drums. He just does sound. And then I saw him play, and I was like, dude, he was like a spider. Just like his arms, the way his lowest kit
He's
was.
awesome. Great dude.
Kind of something random. I was having lunch with a friend of mine named Monty, and he brought up that he's like, hey, Jason Woodbury? I was like, yeah, he's cool. He's like, do you know he does music? And I was like, what? And so he showed me some of your music, and I was blown away, man. I had no idea because I have talked with you so many times. I mean, we met through music because at the time you were working at a record store.
It's true.
So it's just pretty awesome. Like, how long have you been doing music? Been involved in music, really?
Since the Coolidge days.
Since the Coolidge days, obviously. Yeah.
I think I started playing music when I was probably 14, something like that. Just, like everybody, just learning tablature, playing electric guitar.
I was like the recorder. That's what I started with.
Yeah, well, and it's come up on Click Vortex. I was quite an accomplished clarinetist in the school band. Not considered the coolest music that I ever played, probably. But I was really into. I mean, I've always loved music, but I started playing then, and kind of before I started like really writing about music, I played a lot. So we play shows here in the Valley at all of the dearly departed venues that we've mentioned, Trunk Space and Modified. We got to open some cool shows. That old band was called Hands on Fire. One of our shows was opening for Fleet Foxes before at Modified, so they weren't even the headliners. Blitzentrapper was, and we were like so psyched though because they ruled, and we got shushed during their set. By Kimber Lanning, actually. We were at the merch table, and somebody walked up and was like, "Hey, Blitzentrapper's signed to Sub Pop, and Fleet Foxes is signed to Sub Pop. Are you guys signed to Sub Pop?" And I was like, "We're definitely not signed to Sub Pop." But yeah, so I played music, and then I have always played, but over the last couple of years, I've started actually putting stuff out.
Yeah, because you put out, is it a record or an EP?
I put out a full
length record.
Yeah, in September.
And who else is in this band with you? Because it's JPW, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming the P stands for Paul.
No.
God dang it!
No.
Pablo.
You're getting closer.
Dang it.
Poncho.
I knew it.
It's
Jason Poncho Woodbury.
It's Penelope, I thought.
Yeah, Jason. The P stands for Patrick. That project is like a solo project for the most part. Okay. But nobody ever really does stuff completely on their own. So I have a bunch of collaborators on it. Michael Krasner produced the record. He's a great guitarist who's played with tons and tons of cool bands over the years. My buddy Zach Toporek, aka Dadweed, we play together a lot, and so we've just got like a rotating crew of people that we play with, and people come in and out as their schedules allow.
Because you got a show Friday, right?
We've got a show Friday.
Well,
And
if
if you're listening,
I definitely will tell people
Yeah.
about it.
and if
so.
you're listening, you should have been there.
Yeah. You really missed out.
It
you
was
blew it.
amazing.
Wait, well, where is the
Yeah.
The show is at the Linger Longer Lounge.
Oh, nice.
Great spot.
Yeah,
Very, very.
it
It's where we
is.
played it's where the first JPW gig took place. And it was really fun. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think we went and we were there recently for Mary's birthday. Yeah.
Friend of the pod, Mary P.
Yeah. Love Mary. She's the
Who doesn't love Mary?
I mean, when you see her, she just has this beautiful cherub face, and you just want to hug her. She's just the best.
You meet Mary, you love Mary.
You
I don't know
Mary
who Mary
instantly.
is, but I love her.
I'm sure you've
Mary-
met Mary. She works at Zia still. She has curly hair.
Zia record store?
Yeah, she's like
What's a record?
big deal there.
Records?
She's a big deal. Mary is. There's a million things that I have to thank Mary for, but one of them was introducing me to my wife.
Oh,
How cool is that?
that is pretty cool.
Mary the matchmaker?
Mary was just doing her job at Sony Records at the time, and my future wife,
Your ex-girlfriend.
my
ex-girlfriend.
ex-girlfriend, Becky Varkowski, she was working for Sony's college department, their college rep, and so she was bringing her around to all the Zia record stores. This was before Mary worked for Zia. She was working for Sony. She's like, "Hi, Becky, this is Jason," and I was like, "Do you want to get married?"
Of course, that's what you
Hello.
normally
She said,
say.
"Yep," and I said, "All right." Then that's how that worked.
And then
No,
you
I'm
guys
just
got
kidding.
married like 24 hours later. So that's
No,
really cool.
just right then.
Oh, okay.
There was a spot in the strip mall
Oh,
where you could get it done.
perfect.
So.
I was
Perfect.
hoping maybe you would bump into her an email or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I emailed her. I was like, "Hey, do you have any cool ideas? Do you have any weird ideas?"
You've got mail.
Yeah, but Mary is Mary rules, and yeah.
Yeah, she's one of the best. We're going to wrap up here for the Homegrown Podcast, but I do want to ask two last things. The first thing is who's your guys' favorite local bands right now?
My friend Rick Alvin, as he goes by, is just started a band called
Amateur Hour.
Amateur Hour, which I seem to keep forgetting.
That's the name of the podcast, not me chiding
Yeah,
him for forgetting
yeah.
their name, but both maybe.
Yeah, it's called Amateur Hour, and I believe they're going to be releasing a song here very, very soon, and it's just so good.
I will definitely check it out.
Yeah,
That sounds
it's
awesome.
very good. If you like the Beach Boys, if you like good music, good melody, good tunes.
Yeah, I'll shout out great band Astrologer, who we've mentioned already. And then I gotta throw one out for one of my favorite local bands. They're called Gunshi. Yeah, like punchy, but you take the P out and
Yeah, they're rad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
they-
okay.
They're really, really great. Max Naus and Cameron and Erica Sharp, and they're just like an awesome kind of indie with some weirder avant-garde touches and some noisy stuff. Really cool band. So Gunshi gets my recommendation.
I love it. I love the recommendations. Now, where do you guys want to see Wastoids go in the future? This is really Bobby's question. I'm so
It was
sorry.
mine. Yeah, way to take it.
Where do we want to see Wastoids go in the future?
Well, we're working on some live elements, so I'd like to see that happen.
Yeah. We'll be able to talk about that stuff soon, but I think I would just like to see. I think that there's so much room for unique outlets that can share things about music. I think people are maybe getting a little bit right now. We're seeing like the implosion of social media in a lot of ways. So I think that that the more things get scattered and the more these sort of like maybe entrenched, semi-boring delivery systems for music break down, I think that there's a lot of space potentially for more interesting and unique things to happen. So I would like to see Wastoids continue to do what we're doing, just more so, and become a place that people go to find out about music that they don't already know about, and stuff that the algorithm would never recommend to them. So yeah, I want to see Wastoids be the anti-algorithmic music site of the future.
I love that it's that and not dancing on TikTok. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, no, that's our
Oh.
next show is Wastoids
I knew it.
presents
Live.
TikTok dancing with Sam and Jason.
It's just Sam
Yeah.
flossing.
We're very great at TikTok.
Yeah, we did try to. We did try TikTok and we kept being like, I forgot to log into TikTok.
Oh no.
And then it was just like
The first
I don't
step.
know.
Couldn't even get the first step.
I know, right? Just the sign in. Well,
What a terrible place TikTok is.
well, I hope you never have to sign in, but we are going to sign out. So thank you so much for joining us. Hold on.
I had a question, just curious.
Come on over.
If you could recommend like one or two episodes or interviews that you guys have had, like who would they be?
I love that.
That's a
Thank
great
you.
question. Thanks, Ray.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I will say. I mean, I really liked this guy who works for us, Tim, interviewed Keith Morris from Off, and that was one of my favorite interviews recently.
Yeah, he
The-
did an incredible job.
A show called Wastoids With, which is Jason does a lot of interviews, but then we also just have people from Hello Merch if they're interested in a particular artist
I
kind of
saw
pop
that.
in, and if they're down. So that was a really good one. I loved it. There was some really great quotes from Keith on that one. He was
Yeah.
just rambling, and it was a good time. I could listen to that guy talk for a long time.
Keith rules. I would recommend that folks check out definitely check out The Spindle, which is a podcast our friends Mark and John do, and they have a great format. You'd dig this. they do 7 inches that did come out, not imaginary 7 inches, and they focus on
Much easier.
one 7-inch every episode, one single 7. So it's a lot of times it's like just 1 or 2 songs, maybe 3 if it's an EP on a 7-inch.
Yeah,
But
that's great.
they've got an episode that will be available by the time this comes out on the Monkees' "I'm Not Your Stepping Stone," which is really fun, and they play all these different covers of it. So I would recommend check out the Spindle, check out the Monkees with that one. Thank you for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a great question. I think it's awesome that you also bring in like your just coworkers, people around you, just anybody that wants to be a part of the community. I think that's just really a great way to branch out and to just get different personalities in the mix. So
That's that would actually be a good answer for your previous question. Is I would like to have lots more voices and lots more, voices from all over the map on Wastoids. So that's where we're headed.
Super rad. I love that. Other than that, thank you guys for joining us. If people want to find you, where can they find you on the socials or bump into you on the emails?
Wastoids.com.
Wastoids.com. Yeah, that's actually what the socials are called as well.
Yeah, spelled out wastoids.dot.
Oh, love that.
Wastoids.com. But we are totally encouraging people to bypass the social media if they want. Just go to wastoids.com. That's our favorite presentation.
Even better. Yeah, because
the site's fun to look at.
Exactly.
And it's like a really
feels interactive.
There. We have a 24/7 feed of, if you want to just like listen to something, we have a thing on there called the sound system. You just hit play and it
just will be a random
play
pod
something at
or a
random.
random session that we've recorded.
Is there something that you're really proud of that's on the website that you're like, you got to go and see this?
Oh,
just the GIF, the header.
The
It's GIF.
header's dope.
the
The
header.
header, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just,
The
it's
flashing header.
mesmerizing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't help but just stare at it for a while.
Yeah.
Don't get stoned and watch it. You'll be
Or
there for
do.
hours.
Or do.
I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking about doing.
Yeah.
Other than that, again, thank you guys for coming out, and
Oh my
thank
gosh,
you
thank
guys
you for having
Of
us.
Yes,
course,
thank you.
seriously, thanks for making the trek out here.
Oh, we're
fun.
happy to.
Good old East Mesa or East Valley, really. Other than that, thank you guys for joining us. Have a great rest of your day, and I guess we'll catch you on Homegrown.
Same show.